Perfect. I'm not sure if I'll be able to see a chat on here. I usually go live on Zoom, not on this. So this is a bit different for me. Welcome, welcome. So maybe if you do have a question at any time, maybe raise your hand or maybe just say, hey, or something like that. My name is Jessica Harrison. I'm an intuitive spiritual coach. I'm so excited for everyone to be here tonight so that we can dive deep into your traumas, triggers, and to help you feel happy and healed or healing, right? I don't know if we're ever actually fully healed. It's a journey. It's a messy journey, right? So what I wanted to discuss is basically what we're going to be doing for the 3 nights here together. So the first night, I was thinking tonight we can discuss about the traumas. Tomorrow we'll dive into triggers, and then the next night it will be how to release. And then also whatever downloads come through from spirit for you guys as well. I'm already a bit shaky as I've connected to your guys' spiritual team. So I might just get a bit more downloads as to thoughts as to how I can help you. And we'll have to see. I might get downloads after as well. So I might message you, or you guys can feel free to message me as well. Basically what a trauma is, does everyone have their workbook? You don't have to have it, but it's good to have. Some people are visual. I do have it on my little daughter's iPad here for you to see. Hello. So this is a 3-day masterclass workbook that we'll be going through. I sent it to everyone earlier in Facebook. If you don't have it, that's okay. I just put another link down because I know a couple of people had messaged me saying that they didn't get an email. So in case there are technical difficulties going on for you as well, then you can go on to the event, and I just clicked it or copied and pasted it there as well for you. So what is a trauma? A trauma is basically anything that gets stored in our body. So this could be like a big T trauma, which could be like a big car crash, going to war, being in an accident of any kind, some kind of abuse. There's so many different big traumas that can occur in our lives. So for me, when I was 18 months old and my parents were getting a divorce, I became deaf from pneumonia, and I didn't want to hear what was going on. I needed love, and my world was in turmoil, and I didn't know how to get that love and that healing that I needed. So throughout my childhood, I would become sick so that I could get the love and healing that I needed. That was a trauma response for me. So basically, if anybody new that's popping on, if you're not muted, can you please mute yourselves, please and thank you. So a trauma can be, like I said, the big T, which causes shock in the body. Could be a wound, like a physical wound, you breaking your leg or breaking something, right? Or being in an accident of some kind, of seeing someone pass away tragically. It could be anything like that, but it doesn't always have to be like that. A trauma could be also maybe seeing something traumatic. If your parents fought a lot as you were growing up, if you got bullied in school, things like that. Those are all traumas too. And what I might perceive as a trauma, you might not, right? So how we define it is how we perceive it as well. So as we're growing up and going through our lives, what traumas you might not trauma the other person. So we have to go in and take this time to learn how to listen to our traumas, listen to ourselves so that we can heal it. And you guys being here tonight just shows you are ready, you're learning, and you're open to it. So I always ask everyone when I do healing sessions and when we do classes like this to just come in with no expectations, just an open heart with lots of love, because when we have no expectations, that's when the miracles can occur. But if we're expecting all these things to happen, then we kind of block ourselves energetically. So just keep an open mind and open heart for the 3-day class as well. So also with going back to trauma can be an experience that produces a psychological injury or pain, like I was discussing. The physiological injury so caused, it might have been long lasting as well. So something like from me becoming deaf when I was a child and having speech delays and having all these things, and then needing to become sick to get the love that I needed, that kept going on for a long time in my life. That was the only way that I felt that I could get the love I needed, because I felt like I wasn't getting it. Even though my parents probably were giving me all the love that they could, that's how I was perceiving it and feeling, right? So also, I just have some little notes here that I wrote out earlier. So for you, I want you guys to dive in tonight, or whenever you guys are watching this recording as well, if you're watching the recording, I want you to dive into one trauma at this time. And I know we probably have so many, but I want you to think of one that really stands out for you, that is probably maybe one of the intentions that you came to the class tonight. So it can be big and it can be small. It might be something that you're already aware of, or it could be something that you have no clue that's going on right now in your body. So just setting that intention, okay, I want to have one trauma to work on tonight. And then when you guys get the recording, you guys can go through other traumas as you replay the recording if you're guided to. Okay, so I'm just going to see if I can. There's just someone that's not muted. There we go. I think everyone's muted now, possibly. Okay, perfect. Okay, so thinking of your one trauma. So if you go into the workbook, you don't have to, but maybe you want to do it later. We're on day 1. So what is one traumatic situation that has occurred in your life? I want you to really think about this now. You guys can make notes or just make a mental note. How does this feel in your body? How did you handle it? What comes up for you as you think about this trauma, as you address it, as you bring it up to the surface? You might get tightness in the chest or just heaviness all over. It might stress you out. You might start getting shaky. You might get anxiety. You might feel angry. There's so many emotions that might come up for you as you bring up the trauma. And that's okay. That's what we're here for. This is a safe container with no judgment. So if you guys need to be vulnerable, need to cry, just let it out. Definitely, this is a safe place for that. So writing down in the notes, what is one traumatic situation that has occurred in your life? How did you handle it? And then where do you think it's being stored in your body? So if you guys are ready, we can just close our eyes and just hold ourselves wherever you feel comfortable. You can hold your belly, you can hold your chest, you can just hold your arms, just wherever you're guided to place your hands, and close your eyes and take a nice big belly breath in. Let's do that 2 more times. Actually, guys are saying 2 more times. We just need to relax a little bit more. Some people are very new to this, so that's okay. So we want our bodies to be a bit more relaxed. So taking those deep breaths, opening up yourself to be ready to find a trauma that's stored in your body right now. So a couple more deep breaths. There we go. That felt like a good one. I got some chills from that one. So I get chills whenever you guys are releasing things as well. Another deep breath. Okay, and just setting that intention. What is my one trauma that I'd like to bring to the surface tonight or whenever I'm watching this again? I want you to think of it and really see, notice, or feel where is it coming up in your body for you? Is it mostly in the mental body, in your brain, you're overthinking, it's stressing you out? Is it in your throat, like you can't speak your truth about what happened? Is it in your chest? It's heavy, like somebody hit you. Is it in your belly, your powerhouse? You're feeling like you're a victim. You feel like you have no power. Where is it for you? You can write it down or just take these mental notes, whichever feels best for you. This is your time. This is your masterclass for you, for your healing. So taking those deep breaths. So now that we've hopefully found that that trauma, maybe it's a trimmer, I don't know, the trauma that's in your body, I want you to go into the trauma and look around. So wherever you're feeling it, just setting that intention, I'm going to drop into or go up into this space and look around. And what does this trauma look like to me? For some of you, I'm seeing there's glass, there's like big fuzziness. For somebody else, there's like a big wall, there's bricks, there's broken stuff all over. It just looks like a mess in there. I'm seeing a lot of different imagery for everyone. For some of you, I'm just seeing black as well, and that's okay. You can just see black. You might not get anything, you might not see it, you might feel it. You might just be feeling angry or sad or any emotions that are ready to rise. So I want you to go into that trauma and I want you to ask it, why are you still here? And take a deep breath and ask. And you can do this out louder in your head, whatever feels good for you. And just allowing your body to tell you whatever it needs to say. And just sitting with it, sitting with the emotions that might arise. And then if this trauma could also tell you something else, what else would it tell you? Just being fully present with yourself. And then if the body part could tell you why you've stored it there, you can ask your body part right now. Why have I stored this here? Just allowing the emotions to come up or the thoughts. You might get some memories as well that pop up. If you've blocked some memories, they might start to come to the surface as well. They might not. Just be open to any experience your body has for you at this time. And continue to breathe. I can feel a lot of tightness in the chest still. So one way that we can release the trauma is being here, sitting here together in it. And it's hard and it's heavy sometimes. So maybe start pounding on your chest if that's where you're holding it, just breathing and pulling out the strands, pulling out the trauma, if you can do so now. Letting it go. If it's the belly, maybe rub the belly and just honoring your body wherever you need to go, because you have healing in you as well. We're all healers. So turning on your healing touch and just rubbing that area, just noticing where it's coming up for you. It might be your head, pulling the strands out, just letting your body know I'm safe to let this go. Because when a trauma happens to us, what can happen is it can get stored in any different body parts. It can be stored all over. I've been doing Reiki massages for many years now, and I have found all of my clients store different things in different places. They're never in the exact same place. So where you might be storing a trauma is going to be different than another person. It can go into the nervous system as well. So with this trauma, it could be causing you to overeat. It could be causing you to do shopping, like therapy shopping. It could be causing you to drink, smoke, have unhealthy habits that you're wanting to get rid of, but you don't know how. It's this trauma that's wanting you to be addressing it. So we're addressing it now. So this will help you release any unhealthy habits that you've been storing as well. So just think of maybe one unhealthy habit. So it could be overthinking. It could be negative thinking. It could be being a perfectionist. It could be being too hard on yourself. It could be any of the habits I said earlier or anything else. It could be anything that you're just like, oh, this isn't serving me anymore. I want to let this go. So I want you to go back into the trauma. And then I want you to ask it, is there anything else we need to know before we release this, or so we can release this at this time? And just addressing it there, I've already felt some of you have shifted it, felt lighter. I don't know if you felt that. Some of you, it just floated up. So when we can let our bodies know that we are safe, we are listening and it is safe to let this go, that is when our bodies can open up and say, oh, okay. And we have these tools now to listen, right? So hopefully by now your trauma is looking smaller or it's gone. If it's not completely gone, you could ask it another question. Maybe it's a question you're guided to ask. Or what you can do, there's different tools. So we can go in with like a magic eraser and erase it. We can go back, if this feels good for some of you, which I feel like it is, go back to that memory of whatever happened. And I want you to watch it play out like a movie. But what I want you to do now is you can step in front of whatever's happening. So if somebody's coming at you or something's happening to you, you can either pause it and change it how you'd like. You can talk to the person, say if somebody's bullying you or something's happening to you, You yourself now can go in and change that energetically. For others of you, I'm seeing after the call, you need to write a letter to yourself, to the people involved as well. For the others of you, I can see we need to go to a mountaintop and there's a beautiful river below. And we can just start to throw out the rest of the trauma and turn it into a rock, turn it into rocks and throw it out in your mind's eye, imagining, sensing, feeling you're letting it all go. For others of you, you need to do the higher self-talk. And with the higher self-talk, what you want to do is imagine that person in front of you. If there's another person, it could be yourself if you need to talk to yourself. So call in that person's higher self. Either it's your higher self or somebody else's higher self. Call them in front of you. Imagine, sense, and feel that they're standing, sitting in front of you. And you're going to pour your heart out to them about how what they did to you was not okay. You speak your truth to them, let it go. They're not going to talk to you though. They're just going to listen. They're going to be smiling and listening. This is their all loving higher self. So then you'll say everything you need to say. You'll get it off your chest and you'll let it go. And then you'll forgive them. And then when you forgive them, they should disappear. So there's lots of different things for everyone because everyone is different. So just noticing now, how does your body feel from the beginning when we address that trauma, when we located it, we've identified what it is, we've cleared it. How is it feeling now? You should start to feel lighter, maybe happier. Maybe you were crying and you feel just better overall. Maybe it's still in there. So just being with these emotions in the trauma. So then I also want you to think about what is one traumatic experience your parents went through? And were you alive when they went through this trauma? Because even if you weren't alive, it could still be in your DNA, in the ancestral wound. So think of one thing that they went through. So now we're on the second page of day 1. So how do you think this affected them and yourself, this one trauma that happened to them? It could be like a bankruptcy, it could be a death, it could be an illness, it could be an accident, it could be a trauma of like a big injury, could be anything, right? Anything that really traumatized them, that you watched them go through. How did they handle it? And do you notice that when you go through traumas and situations, did you pick that up from them? And if so, this is a perfect time to just say, I'm ready to let all of that go. That's not my story, and I don't have to hold that anymore. And if you weren't alive, I'm getting chills, so that's a good one. So, and if you weren't alive, that's okay too. Just setting that intention. So repeating after me in your mind now, anything my parents went through when I was alive or not alive yet, I'm setting the intention now that I release it with love. Take a deep breath in. And just let it go, setting that intention, thanking your parents for all of the lessons, the love, the blessings, because without them, we wouldn't be here today. So we got to thank them for everything. They've always tried to do the best that they could at their level of awareness. So breathing into that, let's send our parents some love right now, whether they're here or they're in the other side, the angelic realm. So feeling how much lighter you feel already. So if you're ready, you can also break this down as to what happened to them and then to yourselves. So if you want to dive deeper past that one trauma going forward for the homework, you can break it down. It's in page 2 of day 1. So break this down, go even deeper. How do you think this may still be affecting you? So this is your shadow work homework I want you to do. And you don't have to do it by tomorrow. You can do this whenever you're guided to. You can do this on the weekend. You can do it as a journey of whenever you're guided. So I want you to create a trauma release plan. This is on the page 3 of day 1. So what is a trauma release plan, do you think? We've already discussed some of it. So how we release that trauma. So I gave you already lots of tools about it. So some that I didn't already say is like EMDR, the light. So you can do it at home as well. So what you would want to do is think of the traumatic experience and just have a light, and you're going to have, or your finger even, you could do it with a light or a finger. So you're going to watch as you're thinking about the traumatic experience, you're going to watch your finger and you're going to just say something like, I let this go with love. Because what happens with the trauma is, as we're doing this and thinking about the trauma, our body can't do both. So it helps release the trauma as we do that and that. There's other ones too of Quantum Breakthrough Code is an amazing book as well. So you can do this where you're releasing a limiting belief through there. So you could say, I now decode this trauma, or I now decode this limiting belief. It could be anything you're wanting to decode. What this does is it creates new neural pathways in the brain. So then what we want to do after we've decoded it and released it is you want to encode a new belief or a new thing in. So if you're decoding trauma, you want to maybe encode love. Whatever would be the opposite of what you're decoding is what you want to code in. And so you take some deep breaths. So we could do this right now, have a little practice run in it. So take a deep breath in, closing your eyes and just looking up and out to the left as your eyes are closed. So we're going to be releasing the trauma. So the trauma that you just thought about, just felt, if it's not fully released for you, I feel like some of you it is, some of you it might not be. This is how we're going to release, hopefully, the rest of it for some of you. So 2 fingers pointing at the third eye, closing your eyes, looking up, out to the left, taking a deep breath in, and repeating after me in your mind, I now decode this trauma from my body. Another deep breath in. I now decode this trauma from my body. Continue to breathe. You should start feeling chills. You should start feeling something, lightness, and just imagining, sensing, feeling it going. Like I have lots of chills on my body as it decodes, because the traumas that as I'm here holding this space for you, I'm picking up your guys' traumas and it comes into my body as well. So I help you guys release it as well as being an empath. So I now decode this trauma from my body. And just letting it go. So you'll want to do that for about a minute until you feel like it's gone from your body. You can do it for longer. I've done this for my eating as well. I had emotional eating that I was going through with chocolate. I used to binge eat, and that was from my traumas as well. And wanting to feel love and not feeling like I had that love, right? So I would be filling this void of all this chocolate. And then, so what I would do is I now decode emotional eating. I now decode sadness. I now decode whatever it was that I was feeling for each time that I would have a craving. And you can do this for anything if you're trying to let go of unhealthy habits through those traumas that have been stored. So it's another good technique. And then so after, when you feel that that trauma has released, you want to take your right hand, the 2 fingers going into the third eye now, and we're going to code in. So we're going to code in something that's the opposite of the trauma. So it could be like self-love or happiness, joy. And for every person, it's going to be different. So taking a deep breath and close your eyes, looking up to the left again. I now code in self-love. I now code in joy. I now code in happiness. I now code in peace. I now code in love. and just feeling how much more calm and better your body feels. So what happens is this activates our cells, our DNA. It activates us to feel good. We've let go of the trauma. We've let go of the emotions. Now we're coding in, we're bringing in and filling up our bodies with the love or the emotion of whatever you're lacking or wanting to have in your body. Okay. So I also wanted to talk about flipping the script a bit. So our gifts for growth instead of our traumas. So like I discussed earlier, we can look at our traumas of like, oh no, life is happening at us. Oh, all these things are happening to me. It's coming at me, right? But we can also flip it of like, life is happening for me. And I think it was Tony Robbins that said that, right? So if we want to look at how life is happening for us and flip that script, come out of that victim mentality of what is the silver lining from the traumas that I've had, because they've made me into this amazing person that I am, right? So I could think back on the bullying that I had when I was in, I got bullied quite a bit in a bunch of different schools. I actually had to leave some schools because the bullying was so bad. The principal did nothing about it. And so it wasn't safe for me to be there. I had to leave the school. A guy, I always had long hair. A guy would sit behind me and he would have a lighter and he was trying to light my hair on fire. I could smell burnt hair. These girls, I was leaning over and these girls that were my friends said, oh my gosh, ew, look at her rolls, like just very mean things, right? And I could have kept that and looked at it of like, oh, like I am fat and I am this and I'm ugly and I am worthy. I could have held on to all of these things that I used to hold on to. But now when we can flip it and just see that those people were hurting and they just needed love as well, that we can turn that trauma into power, right? So yeah, the principal didn't stick up for me, but that way I was more resilient. I went to a new school, I made new friends and I powered through. And I know that those weren't my real friends, right? So just things like that. So how can we learn and grow from the traumas that have happened to us? So thinking about that as well. How can you flip the script? So from the trauma that's happened to you, how can you flip it? What was the learning experience for you? Finding it in your body, forgiving whoever you need to, letting it go. And then also, yeah, how can you see it from a new way? Let me see, I have one more little page I did earlier. So yeah, redefining helps us understand that it never is the event that that happens. It's how we look at it, right? And then releasing the current feelings about the situation, which is what we already did. So we found out what was being stored in our bodies. And then we found out the emotion, hopefully, or what the trauma had to tell us. We just need to get quiet and listen to our bodies and it'll tell us. So find the good aspects, the way that you want to feel empowered. Ask yourself questions like, how else can I look at the situation? Is there a different perspective that I can take? What other stories can I tell about the situation that happened to me? And make that into your story of like a superpower, right? Rather than having this trauma and like victim mentality, because when we don't look at what we're storing in our body, it will come up as aches, pains, illnesses, and our bodies will get louder. We'll get sicker, we'll get more sore, more pain, and we don't want that. We want to be a clear vessel. We want to be a clear channel for our bodies to heal and be happy. So also, what I'm going to do in the group as well is I'm going to post this book. It's one of the most amazing books. I got it for Christmas. It's an older book, but it's really great. So it's the secret language of your body. So as we're going into the body and asking it about the traumas and where we're storing things, this book is great too, because it'll tell you. So let's say about the pneumonia that I told you I had when I was 18 months and I became deaf because I didn't want to hear what was going on. So pneumonia, blocking the flow of life, inner turmoil, emotional hurt and anger, exhaustion, feeling overwhelmed and crushed by life's problems, a sense of giving up, a what's the point, it's too hard attitude, desperation, drowning in your unexpressed tears and sadness, wanting to be saved. Like, oh, that's sad, right? So I've gone back a lot to my younger self and helped her heal. So let's say you have sinus issues. It'll talk about the possible contributing factors. So feeling irritated, frustrated, difficulty standing up for yourself. And then it talks about a remedy. So say divine healing intelligence, and then you just talk about it and you let it go. So this is another great tool to have to help you go into your body and listen and find out the traumas. Because sometimes we can feel blocked and be like, I don't know, I'm not really getting much. So this book is a great tool to just dive in. Okay, yeah, I have my spleen maybe is sore, and then it goes into what the spleen is and how to release that as well. Okay, awesome. So I thought we were going to do the meditation at the end, but it just happened that way. That's why I love kind of doing what we do here. And I wanted to know if you guys have any questions for today's class. I wanted to keep it kind of simple because I know some of you are beginner. Some of you have been doing work already, so great job with that. And yeah, we'll do day 2 tomorrow. I'm so excited. Oh, and also, if you guys are enjoying the class, you guys can share, tag, and comment. And then also there'll be prizes that I'm going to be doing draws for on Saturday for anyone that is wanting to do the prizes. You don't have to, but if you're wanting to win some cool stuff, there'll be a 30-minute distant Reiki intuitive spiritual coaching call with me, 15-minute alignment clearing with me. So we can go in. What we do is we go into past lives as well that could be causing trauma in this life that you could be storing as well. So sometimes it's really hard for our own selves to find out what we're all holding. And that's why we do have coaches and teachers to help us with that as well. So I'd love to help you with that if you want to win one of those. And then I have an amazing prize. I'm not going to tell you until Saturday night at the end of the class for that one. But in order to win that one, you'll have to do the share, tag, comment, and be interactive in the group as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this class today, and I hope you had some value and some insights on it. I hope maybe you learned something new. I'll send you the recording as well, because I think this is just a class. I don't think it's recording it. And if you like doing it this way, we can do it this way for tomorrow, or I can create a new event and I'll just go live in there rather than doing 2 separate things. So let me know. I love your guys' feedback. If you guys want to unmute yourselves, you can right now, or just send me a message about what you thought about the class and how it helped you tonight as well.